Okay, we're going to start soon.
Okay, very soon. So we can do, it will be a very private lecture, so we can, you can interrupt me at any time and we can discuss.
Okay.
Did you have any news from Gabriel?
I think there should be some students from Gabriel too. But,
yes, because Gabriel wrote me, see you to lecture, but and also Jose Luis Maldonado as well. He told me, so that's why I don't know.
Yeah, Jose Maldonado is here. Yeah, but I think there are more people from Ramon Carriles is also here, and I think there should be some students from the CEO also.
Yeah.
Bueno, okay, we're going to start. Okay, welcome to the colloquium Marco Mosiski of this week. This time we have our guest is the Professor Remy Chauvin from Laboratory of Coordination Chemistry, University of Toulouse, in Paul Sabatier, Toulouse 3, Paul Sabatier, in Toulouse, France. The talk is about acetylenic organic chemistry for molecular materials physics, optical and supramolecular properties. First, I will give some resume from Professor Remy Chauvin. Yes. Let me give actually, he's a professor at the University of Toulouse since 1998. He has a research group at the LCC.
Yeah.
Sorry, this working. Bueno, and bueno, I think my screen is playing with me. No, he's total research outpost at Huaqiao University in Xiamen, China, and he's doctor honoris causa of the Vasil Status Donetsk National University in Vinnytsia, Ukraine. Doctor sorry.
That's all right.
Sorry. Bueno, we're going to.
No me extraña porque
participantes pueden desactivar su micrófono. Andrea, Talia.
Voy.
Bueno, actually, he participated in many programs. French coordinator of the French Taiwanese Collaborative Research Project in 1910. Member of the French Brazilian Research Exchange Program since 2018. French coordinator of the French-Chinese Cooperation Agreement between HQU. Sorry, I have a problem with the screen, and and the French leader of the French-Ukrainian Research Consortium, a French leader of the French-Moroccan Research Exchange Program, member of the French-Mexican Joint International Laboratory, member of the French-Polish Joint European Laboratory, and also he has Doctor honoris causa at the Nassau Institute of the Single Crystals in Kharkiv, Ukraine. Award of the high-end foreign expert recruitment program in Xiamen, China. Medal of the University of Rennes, Sigillum Universitatis Redondensis, Rennes, France. Doctor honoris causa of the Taras Shevchenko National University of Kiev. French Premium of the Science Selection in continuity since 1998, and Medal of the National Academy of Science of Ukraine. And his main research interests are organic chemistry of physics, organic chemistry for biology, coordination chemistry for catalysis, theoretical chemistry, and he has 28 peer-review publications, 6 proceedings, 5 books, and 7 patents. And he has presented 148 lectures and seminars, 10 oral communication, and 20 posters, and he has supervised 28 PhD students and 103 participation on PhD and habilitation boards. Okay, so please, Professor Remy Chowang, you can start the presentation.
Thank you very much, Professor Vischers, for this introduction. And so actually, I hope my connection will be fine, because actually I will give my talk from the room of my hotel, because it is more convenient, but it should work. Okay. So thank you for the introduction, kind introduction, and I would like also to, of course, thank deeply Professor Gabriel Ramos Ortiz, who invited me at CIO and who did his best to present me to you in order I can speak to the Leon community today. However, I know that the audience will not be a pure chemist audience, so it will be, I'm a chemist, okay, so I will focus on mainly on the result of chemistry, but with the prospect of the design of molecular material for physics, and in particular for optical and supramolecular properties. And so also I would like to thank already not only the CIO and Gabriel, but the ECOS program, which allows, this is a French-Mexican partnership funding, which allowed me to travel. So now, okay, this way. I would like first to take this opportunity to introduce me to all of you, and by giving an overview of the research group at LCC in Toulouse. So we are organic chemists, but we are actually not very specialized in any particular field, because we focus on various objectives. And so we are expert in nothing, but we try to discover and to interact, to make interact various fields. So we have mainly 3 panels of research, which have been, which are investigated simultaneously for now 23 years. The group was created in 1998, and each panel corresponds to a type of property. It can be a chemical property, a biological property, or physical property. But of course, we are interested in molecular design, okay? And with each property is associated to a particular type of function in the molecule, or bond, or analogy. namely the original concern, namely the official concern of the Laboratory of Coordination Chemistry is coordination chemistry. And so the chemical properties which are studied, focused on in the group are hypovalent stabilization, so namely the study of a very reactive intermediate by artificial stabilization using various effects. And also the objective being to perform catalysis. So namely, this is chemical properties which are interesting because by performing the study, by studying the interaction of complex and in particular between phosphorus atom and transition metals, we can design complexes which can, complexes which can run catalysis. And so the molecular species which are specifically at stake are actually phosphonium ylides, which correspond to carbenes, and amidinophosphine, which are pénible ce truc. No. This is a big black box in the middle of my screen, and I cannot, I don't know how to remove that, but now it's not possible to come back. Okay, sorry for that. And so the amidinophosphine, which correspond to phosphinium, okay? And so we are also focusing on functional microaromatic derived from bis amino cyclopropenium phosphorus system. The second type of properties are biological properties, and especially with a therapeutic objective against cancer and tuberculosis. And so those biological properties are studied for molecules which contain the classical isolable unit of organic chemistry, of traditional organic chemistry, namely oxygen atom and NH atom. The molecular species we focus on are lipidic alkynyl carbinol containing triple bonds, and their isolable species, analogues, which are carbinamines. And as you can see, so those molecules in the graphic have a very strong activity in vitro against cancer. But also, we are also interested in the mode of action of functional heteroaromatics, like, of course, isoniazide against anti-tuberculosis. So this is a special field of investigation of my colleague, Vania Bernardes-Génisson. And we perform coordination chemistry. We have performed coordination chemistry of those complexes in order to activate those prodrugs without any enzymatic activation, as it occurs in a natural way without coordination. And the main panel I will speak about today is the panel corresponding to physical properties and which is characterized by systems which are rich in carbon-carbon triple bond, namely sp2 carbon atom. So optical properties that are studied are various as well: optical, electrical, magnetic, mesogenic, and I will try to develop some aspects of this panel today. The molecular species at stake are extended genics and carbomer, and more specifically carbobenzene. And we also focus on functional macroaromatic of various type, okay, and with various functionality like thiophene and various fluorophoric or groups which are known to provide specific properties, particular optical properties to molecules. So let's continue. Now I would like to to explain what is a carbomer. So the carbomer is actually a way to make size a principal component of molecular structure, namely an independent feature of molecular structure, independent from other features that are, for instance, the topology, the topography, the carbon content, the mesomerism, and so on. So by inserting C2 units in all the X, Y bonds single, double, or triple of a given molecular structure, which is representative of a molecule, we generate a system, okay, which is completely abstract here, which contains 3 bonds at each instead of the original ones, okay, and so which makes the structure expanded by a factor of 3, roughly 3. So what is changed is, of course, the size, so about a factor of 3, and the carbon content. We replace electron pairs by carbon pairs. But what is unchanged, thanks to the VSEPR theory and thanks to the rule of mesomerism, is the atomic connectivity between X and Y, the symmetry and the shape of the global molecule, and more importantly, the pi resonance, and of course, the chiral roundedness and many other properties. So those preservations, those preservation of particular characteristic of the model might not correspond to preservation of the properties of the real molecule. So those properties are, so the size is made thus independent, orthogonal from the other. Now, the main concern is how does it translate in terms of pro-material properties. What is altered, of course, is stability, because adding triple bonds and with high energy pi electrons destabilize the whole structure. But what can be exalted? It can be, for instance, of course, naturally, the reactivity, but maybe not selectively. However, the material properties which can be systematically affected are aromaticity, which contributes to stability, chromophoric properties. Define. Sorry, I've heard something.
Sorry, I want to alert the people. Los que pueden apagar su micrófono.
There is a problem?
Yeah, some people have the microphone active. So I just ask the people to deactivate the microphone.
Ah, yes, to deactivate the microphone. Yes, I know. Yeah.
Sorry, thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'm continuing. So we are interested in investigating what are the material properties which are changed upon carbomerization. So the carbomeric expansion is named carbomerization, okay? Namely aromaticity, if it is enhanced or preserved, it contribute to stability. The chromophoric properties may have a systematic influence on the optical properties, the redox properties, for instance, on conduction or on photoactivation or photo redox processes. And of course, the supramolecular assemblies might give rise, for instance, to mesophases and why not liquid crystals. So this is a very general presentation, and now you are familiar with the word of carbomers. So what is very important, as you can see in the previous slide, is actually the notion, the concept of aromaticity, which is a basic concept in chemistry, in organic chemistry, but even further beyond organic chemistry, in organic chemistry as well, and of course symmetry, because the shape has to be preserved and it is more appraisable, so if the system is highly symmetric. So in the early carbomer design, okay, in 1995, so that was the year of the definition of carbomer, so carbobenzene was shown actually to be the most stable D6H unicyclic isomer of the Bruto formula of the stoichiometry C18H6 instead of C6H6 of benzene. And actually, you can expand, carbomerize all the bonds of the molecule, or at least a set of bonds which which is preserved by symmetry. For instance, you can expand the 6 CH bond by triple bond, okay, and you obtain the Vollard hexaethenyl HEB benzene, which is shown here and which was described a long time ago. But you can also insert 6 C2 unit in the 6 CC bond of the ring of benzene and obtain what we call carbobenzene. And what was actually what is interesting to show is that, of course, by doing this, you have isomers. Those are isomers, okay? They are unicyclic, and it can be seen that globally, carbobenzene is more stable than HEB, because, of course, the nuclei are further from each other, because in the small C6 ring, 6 carbon atoms are quite close together. So it means that the total energy is lower for carbobenzene than for ethynyl benzene. However, the electronic energy is higher for carbobenzene than for ethynyl benzene, because, of course, of the lower aromatic character of the macrocycle, okay, C18 macrocycle. But globally, it is more stable, okay? But however, the nuclear energy, this is the main stabilization influence on the global energy of carbobenzene with respect to HEB. So that was the early development of carbomers, and symmetry and aromaticity is still very important in the very recent design of a new carbomeric structure. So in this year, C2V carboazulene and carbonaphthalene were compared as stable bicyclic isomers of Brutto formula C32H8. So as you can see, so naphthalene is a bicycle, which of course is not dipolar, it has a zero dipole moment, and by carbomerization you obtain what we call carbonaphthalene, which has been synthesized, okay? We have synthesized one derivative of carbonaphthalene, and the structure is stable. However, an isomer of naphthalene, which is no longer symmetric and which has a strong dipole moment for hydrocarbon, namely a dipole moment of 1.7 dBi at a given level of calculation, okay? And is less stable than naphthalene, however, still can be isolated. It is a natural product, okay? And this molecule can be submitted to carbomerization. And in this case, the reversal of the charge in the two charged 7-membered ring and 5-membered rings, because the two rings are of different size, makes the dipole moment of the carboazulene in the opposite sense. So it was the opportunity to propose the definition of zwitterionic aromaticity, and here illustrate the reversal of the sense of this zwitterionic aromaticity, a new concept. So actually, as you can see here, there is a similar delocalization according to the CC bond length, the variation of CC bond length in naphthalene, in carbonaphthalene and azulene, just as in the parent naphthalene and azulene. And also, it is important to see that according to the topological resonance energy, I did not much comment before. Of course, the topological resonance energy of the carbomers of carbomers aromatic are systematically about 3 times less than the topological energy of the parent molecule, because they are 3 times bigger, of course, roughly, okay? And so, of course, naphthalene is more aromatic than carbonaphthalene, and azulene is more aromatic than carboazulene. However, carbonaphthalene is more aromatic than carboazulene. And so all the details of the study at the theoretical level are available in the paper at the bottom of the slide. So after this, I would like just to mention that the notion of carbomerization, definition of carbomerization can be generalized to further generation. So starting from benzene, so generation 0, K equals 0, you can define the first generation by inserting 1 C2 unit into each bond of the ring of benzene to generate the carbobenzene, carbo-1 benzene, okay? And if you insert 2 CC bonds in each bond of benzene, then you have the carbobenzene of generation 2, namely carbo-2-benzene. What is important, of course, is that the size increasing, the energetic aromaticity of the system decreases, but it's still positive. There is a stabilization, there is a resistance of the system to undergo ring opening reactions. Okay, this is a principle of chemical aromaticity, and the number of pi electrons contributing to the cyclic delocalization in those systems varies from 6 for benzene to 18 for carbobenzene and to 30 for carbo-2-benzene. Actually, theoretical analysis shows the aromatic is qualitatively preserved according to the magnetic, structural, energetic, topological, and electron density criteria which have been proposed for aromaticity. The aromaticity concept is extremely rich and still highly studied, okay, across the world among the scientific community. But all the investigation goes for the effect of carbomerization and aromaticity go in the same sense. So now just beyond the theoretical analysis, just a kind of state of the art. So for the first the zeros generalization, there is of course an infinite number of benzene derivatives, molecules containing C6 ring, aromatic C6 ring is infinite in principle. For k equal to 1, the world of carbobenzene, today I counted that it has been probably roughly between 65 examples of isolated carbobenzene with various substituents. And for the second generation, there is only one example, which we published in 2006, a long time ago, but which is so insoluble that it is very difficult to study. And so we still focus on the first generation. So this is a very general introduction. Now, how do you get those molecules? I will propose here a general approach to carbobenzene in quadrupolar, namely centrosymmetrical symmetry. So here on the left, you have the tetraphenyl carbobenzene. So it is a stabilized C18 ring with 4 phenyl substituents and 2 H atoms in para position, as you can see here, with the X-ray crystal structure. It is obtained by reductive aromatization of the hexa-oxy-6 pericycline diol, okay, with SnCl2. And this one is obtained by C10 plus C8 cyclization, okay, giving the C18 ring of the hexa-oxy 6 pericycline, which actually has the same size as the ring of carbobenzene. So actually, the hexa-oxy 6 pericycline, which is shown here, can also be obtained by reduction of the 6 pericycline diol, which is here, okay, and can give rise also to the 6 pericycline diol, and by addition of 2 nucleophiles of this key intermediate, this very pivotal syntone, we can generate a large amount of polar carbobenzene with various nucleophilic end, which can be more or less functional and which will provide the properties of the carbobenzene. We call carbobenzene a derivative of C18H6, okay? And of course, the substituent, different from phenyl, will provide the specific properties as in the porphyrin series. So now, after this very general presentation, I would like to update the derivative, because it has been a long time that we carbobenzenes have been studied, mainly in the quadrupolar symmetry. And so there are plenty of carbobenzene-related C18 macrocyclic structures which can be devised. And very recently, I would say over the last 10 years, so more recently, we have focused on octupolar carbobenzene, namely non-central and so we focus on the 3D derivative of the bicyclic structure, which contain actually 3 C18s, as you can hear, and it is actually the carbomer of to speak about this molecule today, but we publish its synthesis and its prospective properties as
Un momento, que tuvimos un problema técnico. Bueno. El profesor Remy Chauvin, creo que está...
I was disconnected. I was disconnected, sorry. Is that all right? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Can you see?
Yes, of course.
Okay, because probably a disconnection, sorry for that. And so today, I will not have the time to speak about everything. It's already quite long. Okay. Okay, I selected 3 main topics, and I will develop with some example, of course, it will not be exhaustive, namely supramolecular properties and optical properties, of selected representative of the above series, of molecular series. For supramolecular properties, we focus on solubility issues and the problem of growing thin film, and then switch to 3D, the 3D case of supramolecular association, namely liquid crystals. For the optical property, I will first give a general view of the porphyrin-like character of carbobenzene chromophores, and then develop the most recent results about the 2-photon absorption properties of such carbobenzene derivative with suitable functions. And the redox properties have been very recently evidenced to be of prominent importance because carbobenzene happens to be a photosynthesizer of photocatalysis of water splitting, a very important reaction to generate hydrogen from water, from the sunlight, but I will not have the time to speak long about that. It will be used as a matter of conclusion on prospect. Okay, so let's continue and speak. So about supramolecular properties. So the carbomer development has focused on tetraaryl carbobenzene until now. Okay. With various substitution patterns, so if we consider 2 or 3 different aryl substituents, or they always contains at least 4 aryl substituents out of the 6 possible substituents at the vertices, the 6 vertices of the C18 ring, in either a quadrupolar, dipolar, or differently dipolar substitution pattern, so symmetry. The advantage of such tetraaryl carbobenzenes, okay, is that they can be obtained in relatively great amount, in large amount, up to 100 milligrams. It seems to not be very important, but however, it is important because very often the reductive aromatization and the cyclization, macrocyclization, depending on the substituent, may occur in very low yield otherwise. But with the aromatic substituent on the reacting molecule, then the yields are optimal, I would say. Not very good, but optimal. So there is a versatile access to the pivotal tetraphenyl 6-pericyclanedione for quadrupolar targets A, as I showed you in the previous slide, okay? Then there are also optimized procedures available and giving relatively high yield for the alternative approaches to other systems B or C through 18-N plus N microcyclization schemes. And also another advantage is that the synthetic intermediates are more stable with aromatic substituent, and the product itself, the carbobenzenes themselves, are more stable, so they can be stored longer and used longer. However, there is a big problem with those molecules. Their limitation is their poor solubility, mainly in chlorinated solvent like dichloromethane or chloroform. And but even in those solvents, it is not highly soluble. So this poor solubility impedes the characterization and the measurement of properties of the molecules. Okay, for instance, NMR 13 carbon NMR spectra, because the 13 carbon is not very sensitive, or more importantly recently in collaboration with Gabriel Ramos Ortiz, namely the measurement of the two-photon absorption cross-section by the Z-scan methods, which requires relatively high amount of molecule in solution. So the study, it also impedes, the poor solubility impedes hamper the study and implementation of chemical reactivity, in particular by NMR monitoring at low concentration, and also by the dilution effect on the reaction rates. And of course, now more recently in collaboration with José Luis Maldonado at CIO, so the poor solubility makes the growth of regular thin films quite difficult. As you can see here, there are several examples of AFM image of thin film of carbobenzenes of type A, B, and C. As you can see, the roughness of the films is relatively high, between 7 and 20 nanometers, which is 3 to 10 times higher than the required roughness of maximum roughness of 2 nanometers for the device of organic solar cells and for OPV application. So we are working on that. This is a strong motivation as well. So those motivation prompted us to try to make the tetraaryl carbobenzene, which should be still relatively easily obtained, readily obtained because of the stabilization group by the aromatic substituent, and by substituting those aromatic moieties by alkyl substituent, aliphatic chains or aliphatic groups. Okay, and so starting from hexaphenyl carbobenzene, which has a relatively pure solubility of 0.3 milligram per milliliter when it is pure in dichloromethane, should be slightly less even in chloroform, and in THF even less, of course. So we first tried to substitute various phenyl ring, okay, with alkyl chain, either pentyl chain on the 6th phenyl ring, as you can see here, but still, so the hexapentylphenyl carbobenzene is not very, very soluble. The solubility is almost the same as hexaphenyl carbobenzene, a little bit more. It has not been measured precisely, but it is very difficult to obtain even a sufficiently concentrated solution to obtain a quick proton NMR spectrum. So we also tried. We have also to mention the tris tarbutylphenyl carbobenzene derivative, which was actually described by Ueda and Kiwatani in 1998. Okay, Ueda and Kiwatani were our competitor in Japan, and now they don't work any longer on the field, but they already commented the problem of the poor solubility of such system. Of course, 18 carbon atoms, which are strongly aromatic in a plane, make the interaction with solvent difficult. And then there are, we also tried to substitute 2 of the aromatic ring in a quadrupolar environment with 4 terbutyl groups, and again by hoping that the better quality thin film could be grown for OPV application OPV in collaboration with José Luis Maldonado, but finally the solubility was measured as well, was just 0.2 milligram per milliliter better than the parent hexaphenyl carbobenzene. So all these issues make the solubility problem a big challenge. However, we could consider that instead of adding few alkyl groups at the aromatic substituent of the C18 ring, we could add very long chains. Of course, then it will not be soluble because the molecular weight of the molecule will be too high. It will be like a polymer. Okay, it is between a molecule and a polymer. However, we thought maybe the carbobenzene ring, C18 ring, is a rigid platform, okay, with when we considering the classical 4-phenyl substituent in antiposition with respect to the quadrupolar axis, we could imagine that we could add, for instance, 6 alkyl chains through of C12 or C18 chains, okay, through the pyrogallol platform, okay, in the given structure here, okay, and so maybe I will take this one. Yes, it's more important now. No, it's this one. Okay. Oh. No, not possible. What is that? I need to show. Ah non, ça marche pas. Pourquoi ça marche pas? Pourquoi il veut se mettre en bas? Ok. Non. Sorry, I mean, it's complicated to. Okay, I have this, but now I lost it as soon as. What is that? Cannot keep it. It would be better to have the stupid stuff. Okay, sorry, I don't know how, so it's not very convenient. Okay, as you can see, so this molecule with the 6 alkyl chains, okay, and very long alkyl chains with around, so the carbobenzene platform could exhibit perhaps the ability of forming mesophases, and why not liquid crystals. And that is what we envisage in collaboration with Xiufu Xu and Shun Chen in Taipei, in Taiwan. And so finally, we succeeded to synthesize the molecule according to from the 6-pericycline dione as shown in the slide. Okay, so we obtained this molecule, which we believed could behave as a carbomesogene. And we were very, I would say, lucky, but of course the student, Chongwei Zhu, did many efforts in order to get crystals, and he obtained crystals of these very, very and aromatic molecule. It contains a very big aromatic core and a very long lipidic environment surrounding. So actually, but the carbobenzene itself has the classical property of carbobenzene, namely Okay, sorry, I cannot have, if I take this, I cannot get rid of this black box. No. Okay. So, and that is what we envisaged. So finally, we continued. Okay. And so the molecule was sent to our Taiwanese partners experiment, polarizing optical microscopy at the temperature, which was optimistic for the occurrence of liquid crystal state, of a mesophase, interesting mesophase, as indicated by the scanning calorie differential DSC spectrum shown here, as you can see here. So, and finally, we could see that the birefringent aspect of the POM view here, and according to prompted them to perform PXRD, so per X-ray diffraction at the corresponding temperature, 115 degrees instead of 119, okay? And they could show from the PXRD spectrum that the mesophase was formed. It is a rectangular columnar mesophase, which is stable at this temperature, but however, not very stable. okay, not very stable if you increase the temperature further. And the cell parameters, the 2D cell parameters were determined. A is about 49 angstrom and B is 45 angstrom. And there are 3 molecules per unit, okay? And what was interesting to see is that finally, would it be possible to visualize the carbomazogene in 3D in 2D dimension? And Shunxian Chen in Taipei performed STM imaging of our molecules, and he could see that the arrangement in 2D, okay, was the projection in 2D of the arrangement in the stacks of the rectangular columnar mesophase, okay, with almost the same cell parameters, okay, 45 and 48.5 angstrom, as we can see here, and in 2D, the parameters are 48 angstrom and 43 angstrom. So it is really an indication that the columnar, the ability of the molecule to form a columnar mesophase with liquid crystal properties corresponding viscotic liquid crystal property are highly encouraging. Okay. However, as you can see in the scheme C here, so the interdigitation of the chains is not optimal. There are plenty of empty spaces, okay, between the carbobenzene molecule, which may have a bad influence on the stability of the mesophase. So what we envisage then is that to generalize, so the pyrogalol platform to anchor the lipidic chain, the C12 lipidic chain, by a resorcinol platform, okay, which may be maybe because the 2 chains would be more distant, could allow more interdigitation of the chains. And actually, so the reaction that I showed before could be generalized starting from 6-pericyclanediol. So we could obtain the corresponding 6-pericyclanediol by addition of the lithium salt of the ethynyl pyrogalol resorcinol diether to the 2 keto groups here. And after a reduction with SNCl2, we could obtain the molecule. However, in the pyrogalol series, so it was obtained in 44% over 2 steps. And in the resorcinol series, it could be obtained in 11% only. But this is a very, very recent result. And the molecule has been sent to our Taiwanese partner. We're waiting for the result to see if the liquid crystal or the mesophase characteristics are more encouraging than in the case of the pyrogalol series. Then there is another challenge. It's to make the molecule more discoidal. Why? Because we want the objective, the first objective with this big ring or C18 ring of carbobenzene is of course to stack them in columns, in order to have a columnar liquid crystal. It was possible with quadrupolar environment, but the molecule is a little bit linear, as you could see, whatever the resorcinol and the pyrogalol platform. So if instead of 2 ends, we have 3 ends in an obtupolar environment, as you can see here, then the molecule itself resembles more a disk. Okay, so it is closer to the. It is probably more adapted, suited for performing for growing liquid crystal of discotic character. And so, as you can see, for this, and in cooperation with other students for other purposes, we focused on the synthesis of such obtupolar carbobenzene derivative with 3 substituents. The molecule is not centrosymmetric, but highly symmetric. And we attempted 6 plus 6 cyclotrimerization process from C6 di or 3 enone, as you can see here, the small molecule. So from the small molecule shown here, with either a pyrogalol or resorcinol platform anchoring so the dodecyl chain. Here R is the dodecyl chain, 12 carbon atoms. So with or without a C2 linker of the platform to the reacting keto group, we could obtain the corresponding 6-pericycline triol, which could undergo SNCl2 reduction, okay, giving the corresponding octupolar carbobenzene, which could be a carbomesogene with either a pyrogalol platform or resorcinol platform, and those molecules could be obtained were obtained very recently. Some variability on the yield is observed, so that's why I gave only ranges of yield, because the reproducibility, it's always reproducible, but the yield are not. So the molecule can be obtained, but sometimes there is some point to master. However, the molecule, in the pyrogalol series with X equal where X is an alkoxy group, okay, and with an extended with an extending linkers, namely a C2 unit between the platforms bearing the alkyl chain and the carbobenzene. And so we send that to our Taiwanese partners, and we perform a POM measurement and DSC measurement. And it seems that finally there is a formation of the liquid crystal, in this case, at much lower temperature, namely at about 60 degrees Celsius degree. And that maybe, so there is a crystal state below 50 degrees, and there is a liquid state above 80 degrees. The reversibility of the heating above 80 degrees is still under investigation. And of course, the cell parameter of the mesophase is under study in Taipei. So this is the results, the main result obtained by Dmytro Surov in the group very recently. So I already spoke a long time, but I had problems. So now for the optical property, I will go faster. So I would like just to remember the porphyrin-like characteristic of carbobenzene and their use. The use of various representatives are 2PR chromophore for 2-photon absorption. As you can see here, so as you can see here, the carbobenzene, hexaaryl carbobenzene with in quadrupolar environment with 2 anisile group, shown here in blue, okay, has actually the same property as spectroscopical property, spectroscopical property as hexaphenyl carbobenzene. So it gives a chloroform solution of orange color, the orange-red color. The absorption spectrum is shown here and seems to be very similar to in shape, in terms of just in terms of shape, to the absorption spectrum of porphyrins. As you can see, so there is an extended delocalization, and so this is quite normal that the maximum wavelength is in the visible region, as you can see, around 480 to 520 nanometers, depending on the substituent. And so actually, the calculation showed that the active transition so semi-empirical level. So, of course, another point is that the epsilon value, the absorptivity of the molecule is very high, 222 liter per mole per centimeter. And of course, this prompts the molecule to reabsorb any emitted light, and probably that could be the explanation of the very weak fluorescence of this molecule and other molecules. So this is currently the topic of a very, very detailed study with Gabriel Ramos Ortiz at CIO and for other derivatives. But I just mentioned that we early observed that it was the molecule were not fluorescent, but however, there is a fluorescence, but which is probably more or less quenched depending on the nature of the substituent. So here is just a formal analogy between the porphyrin absorption spectrum spectra and the carbobenzene absorption spectra in a D2H symmetry, okay, with the two anisine group, okay, and we could see by calculation that actually the Guterman model for explaining the absorption spectrum, the two-band absorption spectrum through the Q-band and B-band of porphyrin applies to carbobenzene. So this is exactly the same principle. So now I would like to mention a few results quickly regarding the possibility of gathering several carbobenzene rings in a given molecule. So they can be gathered by just catenation of this C18 ring in in systems which we call carbo-OPE. So those are the carbo-oligophenylethylene ethylene, okay, which are the carbomer of the famous OPE, so carbo-OPEs, as you can see. And so what is interesting to see is that regarding the UV-Vis absorption spectrum here, if you have a single ring, so for the generation L=1, so there is the classical shape of the UV-Vis absorption spectrum of the carbobenzene derivative. But as soon as you conjugate to one or two carbobenzene ring through a C2 linker, as you can see here, then there appear two bands of similar intensity for n=2, and even with a third band of higher intensity than the pseudo Q-band, which are not the Q-band, in the monocyclic carbobenzene in green here. You see here. As you can see, the highest, the lowest energy band of the carbo biphenyl, n=2 is carbobenzene, the carbomer of biphenyl actually is much more intense than the has been attempted at the theoretical level, but it's just a matter indeed of electronic communication to defining the corresponding excited state with the good oscillator strength, okay, allowing so to observe those bands experimentally. And Albert Potter in Girona performed the calculation, and it was published in Angewandte Chemie. The reference is not here, I'm sorry. So that was in 2018, yes. So 3 years ago. And of course, there are plenty of other interpretations regarding the effect of lengthening the chain of carbobenzene molecule. But to go faster, I would like to envisage the alternative way of combining carbobenzene ring by annihilation. So by fusing one edge of two benzene rings together, okay? It gives rise to the famous carbonaphthalene envisaged. I showed you the theoretical studies in the first slides. So as you can see here, there is in the UV-Vis absorption spectrum, starting from the monocyclic carbobenzene, so with the classical orange and pink spectra. So we again obtain a spectrum with two bands, okay, two intense bands, with smaller bands going up to 800 nanometers, okay, and the main band undergoes 100 nanometer redshift, which is expected, but by annihilation, it is even more clean, I would say, because there is still one main band, okay, than by catenation, as you can see before in the slide before. So Now I would like to address, but I will have to go very quickly because now the time is missing. I have some problem with the Zoom, okay? So that is just the formal parallel between biphoton excitation and dicarbon expansion corresponding to the carbomerization process. As you know, two-photon absorption was predicted by Maria Gobert-Mayer a long time ago, and actually it is based on the possibility of performing an excitation using 2 photons of roughly half the energy of the total energy of the transition. And of course, there are some transitions which are allowed for 1 photons, okay, very energetic if the excited state is high in energy, or which are allowed for 2 photons. So those are the selection rules, classical selection rule, and the efficiency of 2-photon absorption by a molecule is usually measured using the parameter which is the cross section, okay, depending on the lambda value, and which is expressed in Gobert-Mayer unit, okay, by fluorescence, by the TPEF method. And of course, for the 1-photon allowed transition, it is measured by the epsilon coefficient, the absorptivity coefficient. So what we can see here is that, of course, it is completely parallel. So to the C2 insertion, very formally, of course, of C2 unit into each bond of a given molecular structure to generate the corresponding carbomeric structure. Okay, as I mentioned at the very beginning. So actually, the 2PA organic chromophores are numerous. There are numerous kinds, okay, from fluoresceins to fluorine, through diketopyrrole, and so on and so on. And preferably, according to Mireille Blanchardès, in a pseudo or quadrupolar or pseudo-quadrupolar environment. So the optimal, global optimal symmetry for 2PA. In organic molecule, by organic molecule. And as you could see, so the various applications, of course, are indicated here. So there is no need to remind why the 2-photon absorption is of prominent importance for, in particular, medical and technical application. And what also is important is that, as I mentioned before, the synthesis of quadrupolar carbobenzene is relatively optimized. So this is the best method to obtain the corresponding target in quadrupolar environment. So of course the goal was to try to investigate the 2PA cross-section in collaboration with Gabriel Ramos Ortiz at CIO of such molecules. And so now it is just an overview, but I would like to give a summary. So we have two series, so the hydrocarbon series and the thioether series, namely the thiophene series, and the thiophene and the dithiafulvine series. So here you have carbobenzenes, which are aromatic at the C18 core, and carboquinoids, which are pro-aromatic. And those systems with either fluorine substituent or dithiafulvine substituent, this molecule had to be synthesized. So this was quite challenging and with a lot of effort. So still using the classical route from the 6-pericycline dione, we could obtain the corresponding fluorine, quadrupolar fluorine carbobenzenes, okay, which were fully characterized, and so including by X-ray crystal structure, and their 1-photon absorption spectrum of those quadrupolar molecules with or without C2 extension between the fluorine and the substituent and the carbobenzene ring were found to be very similar. As you can see, the extension of delocalization does not influence the maximum wavelengths of absorption of the molecule because of the quadrupolar symmetry. It is completely symmetric. So there is a vanishing effect of the conjugation extent on lambda max in the quadrupolar series. However, in in a two-photon absorption. So since the molecule was not fluorescent, it was necessary to use the Z-scan technique, requiring a relatively high concentration. That's why the fluorine substituent had to be substituted by 4 N-hexyl chains, okay? And the result showed that finally, the extended chromophore with a triple bond separating the substituent from the carbonate is roughly 2 times more efficient in two-photon absorption than the molecule without the inserting C2 unit. So that was done already 5 years, 6 years, more than 6 years ago by Gabriel, and it was published in 2015. So then the full, because of course the sigma, the cross section was measured at a single wavelength. So the full TPA spectrum was the next challenge. It was not obtained, but however, completely full as in the one photon version, however. So it could be performed by Gabriel and his group, okay, and we could see that the lambda max at two-photon absorption cross-section is 656 Doppler-Meyer, while the corresponding one-photon lambda max value was at the one-photon lambda max value of 750 nanometer. So there is an explanation, an orbital explanation, which was performed by Corentin Poitvin at the computational level, TD-DFT level in Toulouse, and explaining the nature of the two-photon absorption excited, two-photon allowed excited state of 4Ag symmetry, and the middle virtual state corresponding to the state which were also calculated. And so going from n equal to 0 to n equal to 1, okay, we indeed went from a cross-section of 356 to 656 as reproduced qualitatively by the calculation. So now I need to go further. Okay, so now the problem was the two functionalization of benzene and carbobenzene for 2PA. So that was done in Toulouse. So we synthesized the corresponding carbobenzene, okay, with 2 thiophene ethinyl substituent in a quadrupolar environment. And also we performed the same for the parent molecule, where the core is no longer a carbobenzene ring, but a benzene ring. So this would allow the appraisal of the specific carbomeric effect on two-photon absorption. So finally, it was a complete study was performed by Gabriel's group, okay, and the comparison was performed for both absorption, emission, and excitation in the one photon spectroscopy, okay, as indicated here. I will not have to comment too much because of the time is running, okay, but you can see there are plenty of results. And now regarding the interesting 2PA version, okay, we could compare the almost full two-photon absorption spectrum of the carbobenzene, okay, which was measured by Z-scan because it is not fluorescent, and of the parent molecule, which was reported by both Z-scan and TPUF because this molecule is highly fluorescent, okay, and you can see the two methods reproduce quite good. Quite nicely the same value, okay, and as you can see, the study allowed to obtain the full spectrum with a maximum at 700 of absorption at about 780 nanometer. And so actually, as you can see here, if you consider the main peak at the same value, namely at at 650 nanometers. So there is a factor of 3 between with respect to the parent molecule regarding the cross section. However, we have to worry about the exact nature of this increase at those short wavelengths, relatively short wavelengths. So actually, the conclusion is that there is anyway an enhancement of optical nonlinearities using ring carbomerization, and the C18 core acts as an electron trap, okay, to explain this enhancement. So now it will be, so I will comment about the pro-aromatic systems, namely the carboquinoid system, which are shown here, which can exhibit indeed open shell character due to open shell spin character due to the aromaticity, driving aromaticity of the C18 ring. And so there is a pro-redox aromaticity also, not only in terms of the spin state, but in terms of the charge separation, which can be envisaged simultaneously. This study is, this issue is studied in detail in collaboration with Jean-Paul Madrieux in Toulouse, and we are proceeding in understanding the stability of open shell singlet system in carbobenzenic derivatives. Okay, here as you can see, so we performed from the 6-pericyclanedione the synthesis of the bisquinoid, okay, with the fluorine substituent, okay, fluorinylidine substituent. As you can see here, it's no longer a single bond. The central ring is the central ring is just pro-aromatic, not aromatic. However, it can undergo oxidation, okay, to give an aromatic carbobenzene ring, and with oxidation of the two fluorine extremities. And as you can see, the geometry is changed considerably, because here it is completely planar, and here there is no more conjugation of the fluorine moiety with the carbobenzene ring, and the two systems, two planes, are arranged in an orthogonal manner. So, this is explained also, as you can see, there is an increase of the HOMO-LUMO gap here by oxidation of the carbobenzene. The HOMO-LUMO gap is much lower here, that is completely normal. What is more interesting is that actually the process is reversible. You can oxidize, but you can reduce using SnCl2. And so the molecule can undergo up to three terms of redox transformation. So it is also interesting to see that in the parent version, the molecules do not exist. So then the cross-section was measured, and at 800 nanometers, and so it was the highest value ever obtained when we got it. When Gabriel got it, it was almost 717 Goppert-Mayer. And yes, okay. I need to go faster. Okay, and it is much, of course, 3 times higher than in the fluorinyl, not pro-aromatic but aromatic carbobenzene. So now I would like to mention about the synthesis of the carbo-TTF. This is another carboquinoid with two dithiafulvane extremities. So it has been synthesized by the classical method in cooperation with Mogens-Nielsen in Copenhagen. And so finally, we could compare the two carboquinoid either in the hydrocarbon series or the heteroatomic series. And finally, you could see that the two absorption spectra resemble a little bit, okay? And so because of the carboquinoid character, you have two main absorption bands, and they are correlated with their electrochemical, the wavelengths are related, relative wavelengths are related to their electrochemical voltammetric oxidation potential, as indicated here, because of course the oxidation is favored even quantitatively from the standpoint of chemical transformation, as I showed you in the previous slide. Here is a view of the carbo-TTF molecule by the scanning tunneling microscopy. So the image were obtained by José Luis Maldonado. And so, of course, it has to be analyzed in details, but you can see that there is a strong arrangement and a possible communication in 2D of the molecules which exhibit an extended pi delocalization. So actually, the molecule can can be self-assembled in monolayer of about 10 or 20 nanometers, okay, and 2 nanometers, yes, 10 nanometers, sorry, and actually the linear and regular 2D close-packed arrangement actually can be analyzed by being maintained by van der Waals interaction. And of course, it is the carboquinoid ring can be identified in this imaging very clearly. So here is the last topic I would like to speak is due to a very recent result by Luis Loaiza in the group of Norberto Farfan and Rosa Santillan in Mexico at UNAM, okay? And the idea was to insert benzothiazole unit between the core of the quadrupolar system and the thianyl extremity. Okay, so it was a phenyl ring before, but simple triple bond, but with the BTT it was possible. And of course, so Luis performed the synthesis of the starting alkynes, okay, and by Sonogashira coupling, he could obtain the molecule and measure the certain carbon NMR and photon NMR, and because it is reasonably stable, and also he could obtain the absorption spectra and first and the emission spectra, and found that the quantum yield of emission of this molecule is quite high. It is of about 0.7. So in the carbomeric series, he performed a lot of effort and he succeeded to obtain the corresponding carbochromophore. And in this case, it could be obtained thanks to the exyl chain here. It could obtain a certain, quite well resolved certain carbon NMR spectrum, proton NMR spectrum, and the current state of the study of the absorption and emission spectra is not finished. It is resumed very, very carefully by Gabriel at CIO, and the interpretation is that actually the maximum of emission for some excitation wavelengths is not determined very accurately. It's on the basis without artifact, it should be around 500, 700 nanometers, okay, for the emission spectra. But however, so this is not so sure because there is a reabsorption by the lambda, by the strong band, by the strong chromophoric character of the molecule itself. So here is just actually the molecule has been calculated, no crystal structure could be obtained, but by calculation, we can see that there might be a very small carboquinoid character, which does not appear in the parent molecule here. And so this might also be promising regarding optical properties and in particular for two-photon absorption. So I will not conclude because now I would like I wanted to speak another hour perhaps on the redox properties. Actually, a carbobenzene photosensitizer has been devised for the photocatalytic decomposition of water and by solar cell. So as you can see here, this is a big challenge of producing dihydrogen from water by solar irradiation and using it in fuel cells, okay? And actually, the photosensitizer of the molecule, okay, is a carbobenzene whose structure is indicated here. And so colleagues of us, so of mine, and of my colleague Valérie, are Jérémy Cure and Kevin Koch in Toulouse, who devised all the work. And Jérémy Cure was, Kevin Koch, sorry, was a PhD student with us who performed the synthesis of this molecule. And with Jeremy, they envisaged that it could be a good photosensitizer. And indeed, they devised a triptych nanocatalyst system constituted by a titanium dioxide for the generation, semiconductor for the generation of whole electron pairs. Of course, the possibility to avoid recombination of using silver nanoparticles, okay? And the photosensitizer would be the carbobenzene. So plenty of results are found here. It can be either used in a powder state, but also it can be used deposited in thin film. And more recent further advances by Jeremy showed that actually it can be used with salty water, so with seawater, in a very efficient manner by replacing the silver nanoparticle by gold nanoparticle. So now I would like to thank you for your patience, and I would like to thank all the main people who have participated to what I displayed today, in particular Dmitro Surov, Luis Loaiza Diaz, Marwa Shaman, who did work at CIO during 2 months, I think, with Gabriel, and Jean Veiju and Kevin Koch, and so plenty of other former students. And mainly, I would like also to thank my colleague Valérie Maraval, who works with me on these topics in Toulouse, and my other colleagues Cécile Barthes and Vania Bernardès-Génisson in the group at LCC. Of course, we have plenty collaboration in carbomer chemistry, in particular Sulin Sui very recently in Xiamen, and Mogels Nielsen, I mentioned him, and Zoya Voitenko in Ukraine, but more markedly, Gabriel Ramos Ortiz, Norberto Farfan, Rosa Santillan, José Luis Maldonado, and Mario Rodriguez for chemistry here. There are several theoretical chemists who the result of whom I reported today. So in particular, Albert Potter and Jordi Potter. And so now I would like to advertise for Rising 30-year-old journal, which is actually the Chinese chemical letters, of which I have been nominated international editor in Europe, okay? And as you can see, this journal has a growing impact factor this year of 4.63, and I would encourage you to submit your best result to this journal, which is very nice. Also, the layout of the journal is very nice. And in an opposite spirit, but very complementary, I would add another advertisement for still a newborn journal, namely the French-Ukrainian Journal of Chemistry, which is open access. It is free open access, and which publishes under peer-reviewed, of course, results which are less probably complete and promising in terms of soon applications than the papers submitted by published by Chinese chemical letters. But however, it is a very good advantage to have the free access on all your results. Even side results can be memorized forever through this journal. And so now I would like to show you a picture of the group, which is not the most recent one, but however, it shows many people who participate to the work. Okay, and I thank you for your attention and ready for some questions.
Okay, we thank Professor Rémi Chauvin. We open the question session, so pueden preguntar en español o pueden preguntar en inglés.
Spanish will be difficult for me, but
I will translate. Okay. Okay.
Sí, Carlos, ¿puedo preguntar?
Sí,
José Luis Maldonado.
José Luis, adelante.
Hi, Remy, how are you?
José Luis, how are you?
José Luis, yeah, I'm fine. I hope that you too. One question, Remy. In one of your slides, you talk about a photosensitizer compound.
Yeah.
I would like to know, or if you can give us more information about this kind of photosensitizer. How do you compare the properties, for instance, the electron acceptor in comparison with for instance, the fullerenes?
With respect to the, I actually, okay, fullerene photosensitizer can be used with TiO2 semiconductor. Yes, it is. Actually, I don't know that. So sorry, I will come back. No.
Yeah, sure.
I cannot go back. So I will get off here. So sorry, not again. So it is here. Okay. We didn't perform, so okay. So the general system that has been studied, so you see the TiO2 nanoparticle, okay, which is covered by a layer of carbobenzene molecules of structure I gave to you, and which actually we don't know exactly the geometry of the absorption of the carbobenzene on the surface, but however, so there is also a coverage of silver nanoparticles, which are better added after the carbobenzene than before. So there are two methods for preparing the photocatalyst. Either you cover, you add the silver nanoparticle, the precursor of silver nanoparticle, before adding the carbobenzene layer, or after. The best way is to use it after. So finally, as you can see here, the nanoparticle is here. And so finally, I'm not sure if, I don't know, but you're right, I would say, if fullerene can adsorb on TiO2 in a very efficient manner. How do you adsorb it? TiO2.
Yeah, I mean, my question is, if you know some of the characteristics of this photosensitizer,
Yes,
the carbobenzene sensitizer.
Very low. It has a very low, indeed, a very low reduction potential, just as fullerene. You're right.
Okay. Yeah, for instance, the fullerenes usually can accept until 6 electrons.
Yes,
each molecule. I mean, it's a very efficient electron acceptor. That's my question. How do you compare in this case this carbobenzene photosensitizer rather than the fullerene one?
Okay, no, you're probably right. Actually, you know, titanium dioxide and silver nanoparticles have long been known to photocatalyze the water splitting. Okay, so decompose water to dihydrogen and dioxygen. So actually, it's better to trap the dioxygen by an auxiliary sacrificial agent, which is reduced agent, which is oxidized by O2, and this allows to finally shift the reaction to the right, while the reaction is not reversible. It is a little bit strange, but this is a fact. But however, the reaction can be performed in suspension under strong steering in water solution under irradiation. And what is important is that there are few modifications of TiO2 and nanoparticles which have been until recently envisaged to accelerate, to photosensitize the reaction. TiO2 alone with silver nanoparticle can indeed catalyze water splitting, okay? And with carbobenzene, it is just enhanced. The photocatalytic effect is enhanced of a factor of 30% more. And actually, I tell you, your question I cannot answer because I don't think fullerene pure fullerene this way can be adsorbed on TiO2 very efficiently. Do you know a method to covalently attach fullerene on TiO2?
No, exactly. I have used it several times. The fullerene.
No, but you're right. We should think of that. Just, actually, as you can see, the structure of the molecule is very important because it has NH2 groups. And we believe that the NH2 groups allows, so the first anchoring of the molecule with the oxygen atom at the surface of the TiO2 nanoparticle, okay? And then there is a stabilization of the layer by pi-pi interaction between the macrocycle. We know that the macrocycle can interact. So there is a double effect. It remains on the TiO2 nanoparticle by hydrogen bonding, but it remains also, it is stable in the water medium because it is not soluble in water indeed, but it could be separated because of the pi-pi stacking of the carbobenzene. And I'm not sure if perhaps that some results have been published, but I don't know, that fullerene can gather the two properties, because it seems the two features are important to stabilize the photocatalyst.
Okay. It sounds quite interesting, this kind of compound based on carbobenzene as a photosensitizer. Okay, thank you so much, Remy.
Yes, I would like to speak about that, but it takes more time. So you could.
Yeah, later on we can talk about it. Yeah, no problem.
Yes, I can show you all the details here. Yeah.
Sure, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Somebody has another question?
Carlos.
Gabriel?
Yes, this is Gabriel Ramos. I have a question for Remy. Remy, according to all the observations, what do you expect about these micro rings? If you consider this is a microcycle, you consider that all the groups you attach to the microcycle are independent, they have independent behavior from the optical point of view, or you think they really connected as a whole molecule?
You mean for the catenated version, the carbo-OPEs? No.
Yeah, in general, in general.
No, they communicate a lot. There is an extended delocalization. Indeed, that is the point. I should have insisted on that. But this is really the demonstration that the aromaticity of carbobenzene is, by using the famous, that is my preferred quantitative index of aromaticity in organic chemistry, that is topological resonance energy. And topological resonance energy shows that the aromaticity of carbobenzene is 3 times less than aromaticity of benzene. And so in benzene, actually, the communication between the ring is in principle as you could see in the UV-Vis absorption spectrum, there is a redshift observed with the catenation level, okay, which shows that indeed the carbobenzene ring communicate just by catenation with C2 unit. Of course, by fusion, it is completely different because all the orbitals are mixed, okay? But in catenation, yes, they are not independent. Actually, carbobenzene is much softer than benzene, so it means it is much weaker isolating system for pi conjugation than benzene itself. Benzene is just used, the benzene ring is used because it is stable, but it is not optimal in terms of aromaticity. It is too aromatic. I'm joking, but for too aromatic. It has a good aromaticity for some purposes, but not for all. Okay, and so that's why it is probably worthwhile to pursue efforts in the study of carbobenzene, which of course proceeds slowly, but we hope it can be better. Did I answer your question or not?
Yes. And what about the just? Do you have any comment about the stability of the general of the carbobenzenes and carbomers?
So actually, if they are much more stable, if they are aryl substituent, with aromatic substituent, but really aromatic, the small one, okay, phenyl group with various substituents, as I showed in the beginning, they are usually more stable. If the vertex of carbobenzene is not occupied, namely there is a H atom, okay, a CH atom at the extremity without any substituent, then the carbobenzene can be isolated, can be studied, but it's better to keep it at low temperature in the dark, and it decomposes at room temperature under light. Of course, it could not serve as a photocatalyst. So here, as you can see, this is so for instance, the photosensitizer of the photocatalytic water splitting, okay, contains 3 phenyl rings, okay, which are 2 of them are substituted by NH2 group and extended from separated from the core by 2 triple bond. But this system is stable. We could see that, as you can see here, after irradiation and photogeneration of dihydrogen, after I don't remember 30 hours or 60 hours, the TEM images are the same, showing that actually you could see the layers of the photosensitizer are the same. So finally, this one is stable thanks to the phenyl group here. But if you have H atom, if you replace 2 phenyl group by 2 H atom, then the stability under light irradiation will not be sufficient. So it is the substituent is very important. You can also, I decided yesterday to not speak at all about alkyl substituent branched on the carbobenzene ring. But you can also, what is very interesting, you can anchor directly alkyl chains. And they don't stabilize much from the electronic standpoint, the molecule. Why? Because there is no conjugation. Actually, there is a conjugation between the carbobenzene ring here and the phenyl ring. The HOMO and LUMO are slightly delocalized, not very much, but slightly delocalized on the phenyl ring because the dihedral angle between the 2 planes of the phenyl ring and carbobenzene is about between 0, completely coplanar, and 30 degrees. So there is a conjugation of the pi-z orbital, but not very efficient because of the intrinsic aromatic character of the phenyl groups, okay? And, but they contribute anyway to the stability, yes. But when you look at the orbital, okay, and when you look at the, also as a UV-Vis absorption spectrum, if you have aromatic groups, actually there is a slight redshift, okay, that is in continuation of my answer regarding the carbo-OP I mentioned, you asked just before. You can see that there is indeed a communication in terms of orbital concentration already. It's very, very simple. You can analyze, but practically you can see that without phenyl substituent, the molecule is much less stable. It decomposes. Causes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we have a chance for 2 more questions.
So I'm sorry for having been so long, but it was this is a long time. I haven't given a talk with Zoom, and I had some problem with the pointer and so on, and sometimes it did not go back, and so it is a bad excuse. But I hope that you can forgive me for this extra long talk.
Actually, it was very nice talk and very interesting. Because I think I studied from the beginning, this is very complex how to prepare these macromolecules, and they have this. But I have a question about when you, for example, in this slide, when you include these acetylene groups, like a bridge between the phenyl group and the carbobenzene group. Yes, you increase the properties, like the optical properties.
Yeah.
But do you but you don't have a problem with having less stability. When you are,
This is a very good point, because indeed the extension of conjugation is not so strong. This is a very good point. Adding 4 carbon atoms to C2 units, it does not provide with respect to the number of bonds through which the parent molecule, the pi electron, are delocalized. It is a small perturbation. However, the effect is huge. Okay, and into photon absorption, contrary to one photon absorption. However, so finally, there is just the 2 carbon atoms make the orbital mixing, okay, to generate the excited set in such a way that the calculations show. I don't have a very intuitive explanation of that, okay, but this is definitely, and that was observed already by Mario and Rosa Santillan in other system, inserting a C2 unit between fluorophore and a core, which can be either I don't remember, a pyrene or a fluorine, and putting anchoring to BTD motifs. So the insertion of C2 unit resulted in a great enhancement of 2PA cross-section, of the 2PA cross-section. But regarding the stability, is not a drama, okay? It is still unstable. The 2 molecules are stable. Because actually here you have C2 units, but there is a cap, and there is still an aromatic cap. If the triple bond finishes here with the H atom or methyl group, that would probably not be very stable. But the fact that you still have the same number of phenyl rings, as I mentioned, namely 6, okay, just one is just 2 bonds are extended by C2 units. Finally, this serves as a cap of the triple bond and protect the system. That is my interpretation with hands, of course. It's not very, very rational, but we don't observe more systematic enhanced decomposition of the C2 inserted derivative with respect to the more compact systems. Okay. With or without. Actually, the C2 units here are also very interesting because they make the synthesis of the 6-polycycline precursor more efficient. The yields are better, okay? And so at higher, I would say. And so finally, they are obtained in terms of synthesis very often with better yield and more easy.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so another question of the participants. Yeah. If there is no other question, we can finish the talk with this colloquium, and we thanks a lot Professor Remy Chauvin to this talk and to clarify all these doubts we have. And
okay,
probably is
thank you.
Again.
Thank you very much for your attention, for your audience and your patience. And of course, I'm ready to answer any question by email. You have my email, so I will be glad to answer and to comment. Because sometimes I was speaking too fast to save time, but finally it was not clear. With Zoom, Zoom presentation are not so nicely spontaneous and on site, I would say. But okay,
yes. Thank you, and
thank you.
good evening in France,
too.
in Toulouse.
I'm not, yes, I will be in, but I am in CIO today.
Ah, ok. Bueno, buenas tardes a todos. Nos vemos.
Yes, I will be back.
See you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.